All right, all right, all right. Good morning, everybody. I think I've said good morning like a million times already. Good morning, everyone. It's so good to have us all here. Welcome to the 10th Code webinar, breaking into tech through product management. I'm just going to do a brief introduction of myself, and then we'll just ease into today's conversation. My name is Gloria of 10th Code Media. I will be your host today. I'm honored to be your host today as we dive into the topic of breaking into tech through product management. The essence of us having this particular conversation is because we realize that there are a lot of tech skills out there that young individuals can use to kickstart their career on the right path. And product management is one of those many tech skills. And like we said, like I like to say to people, any company that has a product, whether it's a physical product, a tangible product, or intangible product, you need a product manager to manage that product from the point of ideation, customer acquisition, and then even evaluating of the product's performance. So whatever your product is, if it's a phone, if it is an app, if it is a financial app, or if it's even a service that you're offering to people, you need a product manager to be in the forefront, ensuring that this product is meeting the need of the customer and also helping the business achieve its goal. But there are so many things you would have to go through to have the right experience when it comes to pursuing a career in product management. Things like the kind of skills you should have, the kind of courses you should do, how you can ease into that particular career path. So we decided to reach out to product managers who have done remarkable things in various industries. As you can see on our flyer, we have product managers from across different industries. We have product managers in fintech, we have the ones in telecom, and not just in Nigeria, but within the African space and even outside Africa. So our panelists will be sharing their personal experiences. They will be giving us tips, and they would also tell us realities, because let's be truthful, it's not as easy as some people make it seem. So they will tell us the realities, their own realities. We learn from it, and then hopefully we also get to become better product managers in whatever field we decide to go into. So this webinar is proudly brought to you by 10th Code Media. 10th Code Media, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what we do, who we are as a company. I'm sure you already have an idea, because like I said, we talk about product management and trainings and everything. But yeah, we would go into what we are as a business. 10th Code Media, who we are. So 10th Code Media is a limited company that seeks to add value to any entity we interact with, whether as an individual or a company. We basically collaborate with brands to help them achieve their objectives through strategy, creativity, and technology. We employ innovative thinking in transformation of business cooperative strategy. So we basically work with people on a business level and on an individual level. So we offer consulting services, trainings, and conferences. So if as a business you want to think of ways to create innovative strategy, digital strategy for your business, review your business processes, we can offer consulting service for you. Then on an individual level, also on a business level, so if you want to offer trainings to your staff, or you as a person, you want to take your personal career growth to the next level, you can leverage our trainings. We have trainings, we have product school, we have project school, soft skill, and a few other trainings that you can view on our website. And then we also offer conferences. So of course, typically today, I will just talk about our product school. Our product school, we try to take you through the life cycle of a product. How, like I mentioned earlier, how you can take a product from a point of ideation to, marketing strategy, evaluating the product's performance, managing stakeholders. This particular one, I'm sure, not just product managers, I'm sure a lot of people, when it comes to managing their co-workers in the company, it can be a very tricky one. So yeah, in our product school, we talk about managing stakeholders, coming up with strategy, product visions, pricing, and a whole lot more. So the current training course includes new product development management fundamentals. We also do introduction to agile product development, developing product vision for your organization, product marketing for financial and technology companies, product design, introduction to Lean Six Sigma training. This is not limited. It's not limited to this, but this is basically what we'll focus on in our product school. So if you're interested in coming for our product training, especially after this webinar, you feel like, okay, you're ready to take the next step. So these are details. We have a physical class and we also have an online class. So whichever one fits your schedule, you can just opt for it. The physical class is 170,000, then the online class is 135. So simply click the link or visit the link on the flyer. I would share it also on the chat so everyone can just copy and paste and then just register, then we'll get in touch with you. We've worked with a few partners, FCMB, UBA, Sterling, financial, non-financial organizations. Basically, those are clients that we've worked with. I will be sharing our contacts as we go on, but without further ado, let's go straight into today's conversation, breaking into tech through product management. I will start by introducing our panelists. We have three wonderful panelists today in our conversation. We have Chukwuemeka, we have Yemurayi, and we have Clement today. So I will just give a brief overview of their profile so that we can get to know who our panelists are. Okay, so but before then, I just want our panelists to just wave so we know who is Chukwuemeka, we know who is Mr. Clement. You can just say hello to our speakers and just mention your name, then we can just let our participants know who you are. Okay, over to you.
Yeah, I think our names are on the board. But, hi guys, my name is Emeka. Happy to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Clement. Nice to be here as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Yemurayi. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so great. I will just tell us a bit about our speakers so we know who our speakers are. So Chukwuemeka is a senior product manager with over 5 years experience in fintech industry in Africa and in Europe. He has a proven track record of success in developing and launching innovative products that address the needs of undeserved customers. He's an expert in product strategy and analytics, execution, user experience design, and agile developments. He has also worked with top fintech companies like Binance and Revolt. His experience in leading the development and launch of new products from scratch and improving existing products. I believe we're in good hands today. He has a proven ability to work with various stakeholders, internal and external stakeholders, to gather requirements, define user stories, and prioritize features. So welcome to Chukwuemeka. It's an honor to have you here. And then I'll move on to our second speaker, our second panelist, Yemurayi. Yemurayi is passionate about building products and driving financial inclusion. She possesses extensive experience in building B2C. B2C means business to customer, and B2B, which means business to business fintech products that allows customers to earn, spend, grow wealth seamlessly. She has successfully led the development and growth of products in mobile money, cryptocurrency, social payments, payment gateway, online payments, remittances, insurance, and microloans. She's currently the product lead of an African unicorn fintech in the payment industry. It's so good to have you here, Yemurayi. And then lastly, we have Mr. Clement. So Mr. Clement is a distinguished senior manager of products and devices with vast experience in product management and marketing and business strategy as well. is celebrating a trajectory of leading projects that generate billions of dollars in yearly revenue. He has showcased a particular acumen for product development in emerging markets. His core strength resonates in customer products, building a brand, e-commerce, and visionary smartphone strategy. As the senior manager of product and device at one of Africa's premier telecoms, Mr. Clement dons the hat of chief product owner, orchestrating product innovation and meticulously leveraging emerging market insights. So we look forward to everything he has to share from his wealth of experience today. Welcome once again. So I'm just going to dive into today's question. Who exactly is a product manager? We hear product manager, everyone is just throwing the title here and there. But from your own experience, who exactly would you say is a product manager? I will start with Mr. Clement.
All right. Good morning once again. I will simply put it in a very subtle way. A product manager should be considered as the CEO of the product. He clearly is responsible for not just bringing the product to light, but he's also responsible for defining the product vision and strategy. He sees that product from ideation, to taking it to launch. And not just, launching the product, he also needs to monitor that product as well to ensure the product is delivering what it intends to do and what the customer has, requested for. The product manager is someone who is customer-centric, who should know what the customer wants, and he's giving the customer what the customer has, requested for. And like I said, he's like a CEO of the product, so he needs to ensure that product grows and ensures profitability for the business. He's not just putting our product out there for putting out sake. The business is there to make money, so he needs to ensure that that product is putting out there not only meets the customer needs, but also meets the set objectives of the business as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clement. You said something very profound, and I'd like to hear what Yemurayi thinks about what you just said. You said the product manager is supposed to be there to ensure that the product is meeting the business needs. So going by the definition you've provided of who a product manager is, Yemurayi, if you have anything to add to it, you can please do add, but you can also expatiate on how a product manager can contribute to the success of a product or the success of a company, not a product, success of the company. So Mr. Clement has said he's the CEO of the product, but how does that link to the success of the company, and what does your role entail to ensure that as a product manager? Over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Gloria. So I always define a product manager as someone who is a problem solver and an opportunity meter. So what happens is, as a product manager, your role is to identify opportunities, identifying that you can build products around to address those problems and solve and meet those needs. In the process of addressing the problems, meeting the needs, generate value for the customer, but you also generate value for the company or for the business that you work for. So by providing value to the customer, your customer pays for that value. The payment that the customer is incurring to access that product is the value that you're generating for the business. So business have goals, and one of the most important or common goals that businesses have is revenue targets. So a business may have a revenue target to generate whatever revenue target it has for the year. So as a product manager, by identifying opportunities, needs, and problems that customers have, you create opportunity by building products and services that meet those needs. When the customers make use of, access, and use the products that you've built, but by paying for those products, you generate revenue for the business, and you help your business meet its revenue goals.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Yemurayi. So, Emeka, over to you. I'm a bit curious. When you started your own career, did you start off as a product manager? And if no, how did you ease into the role of a product manager from your previous job role? So, for instance,
Yeah.
if you were, I don't know if you understand my question.
Yeah, basically
Okay,
like
over
my
to you.
journey,
Okay.
I guess. Yeah, I think that's a very valid question. I think just before I like go into like my own journey, I think key thing to note is that everybody's journey is going to be a bit different. Product management is kind of like a field where we accept everybody. There's also like transferable skills. It doesn't really matter what you're doing now. You can always transition once you obviously identify and train. Yes. I think for me, my first role was not, I wouldn't say it was a product manager role. I would say like I got employed into an organization as sort of like a graduate trainee. And for context, that's basically, hey, entry, we don't really know what you're doing with that, but we're going to, you know, play with you a bit, So for me, that was like kind of how I started. Along the way, I found myself in the digital transformation department of my organization. And then I wasn't a product manager. My org just had like a goal to say, hey, we want to become, want to serve our customers better with tech. Let's put together like a small task force group, I guess. We're like 3, 4 max and a few consultants. And obviously, I was part of that group. And at the end of the day, we decided that the way forward was to build an application, a mobile application. And even when we started building the application, I wasn't officially a product manager. I was just this uh, employee that did anything to move the business forward by the day,
Okay.
I guess. And eventually, one of my engineers, and this was like there was no structure then. There were, I think, the only company in Nigeria then that had PMs, or maybe like the MTN and the Inter switches. Like, it wasn't very popular. I think one of my colleagues just told me that, hey, you should do product management. Sounds like something you would be interested in, or that would, what you're doing is already somewhat like product management. Because like I was chasing engineers, I was talking to customers, I was answering phone calls. It was a mix of the customer support slash utility role. That would be the way I would put it. And basically, when he said that, I kind of like went down the rabbit hole. I did a few trainings, and
Mm.
along the way, I changed my job description and my job title for myself. Um, yeah, so that was something like my approach was for me. The TLDR of the story is um, just like taking a lot of ownership and being responsible for like your transition within the org. Like my org, we didn't have a product management function, or we didn't do things according. But I just started implementing things I was learning and calling myself and my team PM. That's how we're here today.
It sounds like you had a very interesting, an interesting journey moving from customer support to doing basically anything to just make sure the product survive. I'm a bit curious, Mr. Clement, for someone who has your wealth of experience, was it the same path for you? How did you transition into the role of a product manager? Did you from your previous role, or perhaps did you start your career as a product manager? That would be interesting. But if not, how did you transition into the role of a product manager, and what really helped you transition?
So I didn't start as a product manager, to be honest. And like Emeka said, you see a lot of people, a lot of product managers who have that same trajectory. My career, I started as a technical guy for a telco for a while before I moved into the marketing and strategy team, where where I was a segment manager driving ideations and dumping it on the product guys to launch it. So that was in over the years, and it's one of the things it helped me garner some skills or some sort of soft skills that actually assist a lot of product managers in what they do. Because then, trying to get customer insights, trying to look for opportunities, where I said, and, editing something and then dumping it off to the products team and sitting down and waiting for them to get it out. But something happened a couple of years ago. The company which I work for decided to move to the agile methodology and then, started operating Scrum. And we had to reorganize and form various tribes. And that was when I officially transited into being a product manager, and I started heading the products team. We took it, the business took it upon themselves to train the products team. Some of us went an extra mile to attend some other trainings. But like I earlier said, some of the soft skills that you've garnered over the years, problem solving, customer centricity, stakeholders management, really, assisted, because those are skills that you bring into a PM. Client with Emeka, when he said, anybody can be a product manager from any field. You just, put your mind to it, get the necessary soft skills and hard skills, and it will take you there.
Okay, thank you. You've already slipped into the next question I was going to ask Yemurayi about skills. So Yemurayi, when it comes to skills, I don't know if you have a background in tech, but since we're discussing breaking into tech with through product management, what are the soft and hard skills that helped you transition into product management as a career? Over to you, Yemurayi.
Sure, that's a very good question. I actually started off my career as a software engineer, and then I transitioned into a business analyst and then into a product manager. However, you don't need to have technical skills, or at least you don't have to have been a software engineer to be a product manager, as my co-panelists have already shared. What is important to realize about the product management role is, even as Clement shared earlier, that the PM is almost like the CEO for product. So what it means is they need to have all-rounder skills. They should have that bird eyes view, and they should be able to navigate the different areas of building a product and managing a product. So it goes beyond just the technical piece. It goes into marketing. It goes into the operational bits on how the operations are going to be managed once the product is now live. It goes into customer support. It goes into sales. It cuts right across. There's risk. There's compliance issues. So because it cuts right across what ground you come from, you have a handle to get into product management, because product management covers the 360-degree view of a product. So you can come in from whichever angle and be able to find a way. So some of the skills that are very important as a product manager, I think the one that I would really like to start with is communication. As a product manager, you work through people. You work with people. As a product manager, you do have, as you grow in your career, you have opportunities of getting other product managers reporting into you, so you can manage other product managers. However, the people that really do the work to out and working and delivering value are the people that you work with, your engineers, your marketers, the sales people, your customer support people who attend to your customers. So you don't necessarily manage these people. Yes, they don't necessarily report to you, but you have to get work done through them. So it's important that you have very strong communication skills, the ability to clearly articulate what needs to be done and how it needs to be done, why it needs to be done. If you are able to communicate well, it is easy to rally people around you to get a vision, implemented vision come to life. So communication is one critical skill. The next one is interpersonal and stakeholder management skills. As I've already highlighted, you are working through and to be able to to manage relationships. You need to be able to have the sense to understand the politics within a room. You have to have the sense to understand the concerns and the interests that each stakeholder brings. Because at times it's easy to think a particular stakeholder is a problem, but really when you get down to understanding what it is that drives them, what it is that they're concerned about, and be able to address that, you're able to manage them well. So stakeholder management is a very critical skill. The ability to know the interests of each person within the organization and the department that they're coming from, and be able to manage and deliver to their needs is a very important skill. So I've highlighted community, highlighted stakeholder management. The next one that I would like to highlight is customer-centric. At the end of the day, as I highlighted, the role of a product manager is to identify and meet needs, solve problems. And these are the problems or needs that your customers have. So you really have to have a neck for your customers. What are the problems that they're facing? What frustrates them? What motivates them? What challenges are they currently facing with the current product or with other products? So you need to be someone who's always interested in the customer, find ways to interact with your customer. It could be direct interviews with customers. It could be observing your customers. It could be analyzing data based on how your customers are using your product. So you have to be very customer-centric or user-centric. So there are quite a number of other skills that we could talk about, but those are the most important ones that come to mind right now that I would like to share. Maybe just in conclusion, the last one that I would like to share is being data-driven. The data is the best way to know your customers, to know how your product is behaving, to know and understand how your company is performing and where there are legs, where there are gaps, and be able to identify opportunities and gaps so that you meet needs. So as a product manager, because as a product manager, you get a lot of input from different people. Your CEO may come and say, this needs to be done. Or the market may say, oh, this is what we think is hot these days. But when you've got data, you have ground to stand on, to prove points, to drive points home, to manage arguments, and be able to help your organization prioritize the things that are most important. Those are some of the skills that I can mention that are important as a product manager.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Remy. That was very insightful. I like the fact that you talked about management of stakeholders, because in our community of product managers, we have some of them share experiences of how managing of stakeholders can be a huge problem, especially when they are managing from the top. So Clement mentioned something. He said that you are the CEO of the product. But then again, when the CEO of the company wants something different, how do you manage that kind of stakeholders? So it just brings me to my next question. I'm going to throw at Emeka. Yemurayi said you can go into product management through any corner because it's like a 360 thing. And you have talked about how you had to go into different roles before you eventually found yourself as a product manager. What is the major challenge that you've experienced when it comes to transitioning into the role of a product manager? I would also be coming to Mr. Clement with this particular question, but let me just start with Emeka. So for you, what was the major challenge you experienced? I'm sure our attendees would love to hear the realities of it, not just the fancy parts.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like one of the major challenges I experienced then is, so for context, I was working in a very traditional company at the time. So, I think of a company who, I get nowadays, there's like tech companies who are built on tech. That wasn't the case then. And so basically, it's a different case where what you're building is directly responsible for revenue in the company. You're taking serious, you're giving all the resources that you need. But a traditional organization where, I mean, what you're doing might not even be adding value in a way, maybe 1%, 2% of the total revenue, then sometimes it's difficult to, I think, justify getting like resources, and it's difficult justifying, getting like why we should do X this over Y, or why we should take certain approaches. I think for me, that was like the biggest challenge. It was more like an environmental challenge. And I think everybody's going to face that because no two product managers, even within the same company, do the exact same things. Everybody's reality is drastically different. And just being able to be versatile and just being able to, and it also goes back to like managing stakeholders as well, because sometimes like your stakeholders are the people who can make those decisions. I mean, think of you like an entry level person, like you want to change a process, like what's your portfolio? Like that's not how it's done. You know, you have to like stakeholders to give you support and buy-in, and understanding your different stakeholders. It's very helpful. Um, it's almost like you should have like a dossier on your stakeholders. You know, like the ones who like numbers that just want money, money, money. The ones who like data. The ones who like hearing direct customer feedback. Ones who this what their biggest challenge is, how do I get costs down? And knowing that helps you in your conversations with them, and in just like knowing your way around and trying to get things done from your own little corner. So that also that would be my biggest challenge. Just again, trying to tame an elephant or a giant. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. How about you, Mr. Clement? What was the biggest challenge for you transitioning to the role of a product manager?
So I would say one of the biggest challenges was making tough prioritization decisions, because as a product manager, like Yemurayi said, you get requests from everywhere. The CEO wants something, the sales director wants something, customer relations want something, marketing wants something, and you have limited resources to work with. So how do you prioritize what product you're going to put out there? How are you going to prioritize what work you're going to do out there? And one of the things that Yemurayi had said earlier on was you need to be data-driven, which actually will help you to prioritize some things, because if you do maybe take up a product from the sales team, the question from the other teams is, mine was also important to me, why didn't you do it? But with data, showing people data that these are the reasons, or this is your decision was backed with data, everybody tends to understand, because there's always you need to balance conflicting needs and opinions, which is really tough, because don't forget, this set of different divisions or departments also have the KPIs they want to meet as well. So yeah, so it's like you're choosing this over this, and you're making me not meet my KPI. So it was really one of the harsh realities for me. And another thing was not all products you put out there become successful. That's been truthful. There's some products you put out there that fail. So how do you manage these failures was one of the realities for me. It was a tough one for me. How do you manage these failures? Because you've told the business, I'm putting out this is supposed to give us XYZ revenues over a period of time, or meet some certain KPIs, and you put it out there and the uptake didn't happen the way it's supposed to happen. And the question is, you sit down and ask yourself, what went wrong? Do you pull back the product, or do you carry an enhancement to transfer that you want to improve your product, which means putting in more money? And the question is, if you put in more money and it fails, it becomes a further setback. And those are hard decisions you need to take at that point in time. And like I said, one of my co-panelists I said earlier on, you need to be really customer-centric to try to ensure that what you're putting out there meets what the customers, want. Because if it does not, customers are not going to take it. The way you say customer is king, they're the ones that help you achieve your value. So I think those are one or two of the major harsh realities I had in transiting as a PM.
Right. I have an interesting question, especially since you mentioned failure of products. And I would like to hear Yemurayi's thoughts on this, because when it comes to building financial products, it can be a bit tricky, especially when you have stakeholders like regulators involved. I want to believe regulators, they play a huge role when it comes to the products flying or the products going down. So have you had a product that you had to look at it and you're like, you know what, going by everything happening, I would term this in quotes a failed product or a product that would not fly. Have you gotten to that point of product management, and how did you manage it as the owner of that product?
Thanks for that. I just want to clarify, there's a bit of a question that I didn't get. Did you mean a product that I worked on that did not do well and how I managed that?
Yes, basically.
All right. Okay, I'll give you an example of a product that didn't do as well as we had anticipated. It was a product that I worked on the previous company that I worked on before where I am currently. When I joined in, the product was already under development, and the stakeholders had very high expectations of how the product was going to deliver in terms of the revenue. So when I joined in, hit the ground running, your pressure is to prove that you can get stuff going. So my immediate goal was, okay, something's already under development. Let's see it through. Let's get it live and launched and get into the market. So we managed to build it off, deliver it. It was built successfully and delivered and launched into the market successfully. But then when it came to the actual usage by the customers in the market, the usage was low, and it was not the stakeholders within the company expected more, but it didn't actually meet that. And from my end, when I then did a retrospect to say what went wrong, the one thing that was not done right was, one, there wasn't enough research that was done when the product was being built. So you should realize that when there's an idea to say, let's do this, we think this is a great idea. As a product manager, it is your role to make sure that you validate the potential impact of that particular product. So to say, okay, one, how needful is it? Do customers really need this? Or it's convenient, it's something that they can use, but they don't really need it. They could survive without it, which was the case with this particular product. And on my end, in retrospect, when I reflect on what I could have done better, instead of joining in the company and hitting the ground running and making sure that we develop and deliver it, I should have requested for time to say, you know what, I know you've already started development on this product. Please allow me time to revalidate the strategy for this product and confirm that this is really what we should be working on, even though we've invested time and resources. And it's a bit hard, right? Because people have already invested time and resources into this. But if I had taken a step back and requested for time to say, I know you want to head in this particular direction, but allow me time to revalidate the strategy before I run with this, could have to say, okay, maybe this is not necessarily well product. Some people will use it. Let's manage our expectation as an organization to know how much to invest into this, because the return on the investment is going to be this much. So that's one example that I can think of, and how it could have been handled better, both by me as the PM when I joined in and by the organization when they started off. I hope that gives insight to the audience. Thanks.
Yes, it does, actually. It does. Always evaluating, especially if you meet a product halfway. I just want to quickly mention for our attendees, you can drop your questions in the Q&A box. As we go on, we will start asking our panelists those questions that you would want them to address. Yes, okay. Because I can see a couple of people are already dropping questions. So yes, thank you for as many who are already dropping questions. I'll be expecting more questions to drop in there. I have another follow-up question to, personal experiences and challenges. But you know what? I'm just going to move away from challenges right now. When it comes to transitioning into the role of a product manager, what are the things that helped you, Chukwuemeka? I would like to know. We've talked about the challenges you experienced. Now I want to know what helped you. Was it skill? What are the skills that help? Oh, we've talked about skills, but aside skills, what are the things? Community, previous experience or anything basically that helped you transition smoothly into the role of a product manager? Over to you, Chukwuemeka.
Yeah, thanks, Gloria. So it's a couple of things, to be honest. Or I would say like it's a combination of different flows. The first is basically just having like a clear goal and a clear drive. That is something that you want to do, and having your rationale for why you want to transition. For a lot of people, it's like they want to break into tech, you want to make more money, you want to build products, or you want to just depending on what it is for you. I think having that as like your North Star is very important because um, don't really want to mince words, but like it's not an easy journey. Um, it's not a walk in the park in a way, especially when you think of, and I'm digressing a bit, but when you think of even like the interview process and like getting interviews and getting like your foot in the door for like an official role, it's but I feel like that North Star, and that's like why you're doing this and what it means to you is key. And I think those were the things that helped when I was the point in the journey when you're like, what's going on? Like, do I know what I'm doing? When you have like imposter syndrome, so to speak. So that's the first thing. I think I would also say will just be like, again, like confidence. Um, it's very easy as a PM to think that you're not adding value to your team just because, you don't write code, you don't do marketing, you are not an accountant, you're not reconciling the numbers. It just gets people to do their jobs. So I think confidence is key. Just understanding the role that you play, understanding like how you are the bridge, and like without that bridge, in the long term, things fall apart. To be honest, in the short term, nothing much really happens. Like engineers would ship products without a PM, designers would design PM, customers would be happy or sad. I mean, they are happy and sad even when there's a PM, but I digress. But your goal there is basically on planning out properly and thinking about the problems and solving them in a very sustainable way. So like always remember that. And I think those are the things that also help in terms of like when you feel like you're innovative. The third thing I would say would be community. So when I first started product management, I got the training, I joined the community to hear like stories. I think that my community was obviously the job opportunity drops there. We used to do like mock interview sessions. People would just do case studies, drop for feedback, drop their CVs,
All right.
do mock interviews. People come and listen. Or, person A will pretend that they are a CEO from a startup and will grill person B, and people will like
Right.
take notes and give feedback.
Right.
So again, all of those things are very time consuming, especially if you have like full time and you have to do them at nights or weekends. I think there was a period where like I didn't have my weekends for like 6 weeks or so. So those things add up over time. And then the last bit I would say it will basically be like aside from just like the confidence and like the community, I think it would just be just like I think positioning as well. Sometimes people call it like networking, people call it shooting your shots. It depends, to
Shooting
be
your
honest.
shot.
But those will be like the soft skills, not skills, but like how you can make your transition a bit easier. Obviously, there's other basic stuff like doing courses online and stuff like that. But I think those are like kind of like the norm, but these are more like a bit like next level approaches. I would say in my experience that helped me transition, get jobs, grow. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So basically, I like that part about shooting your shot. Two things actually, community and shooting your shot. I would like to direct that same question to Mr. Clement, but I want to add a little twist to it. Aside from just soft skills that Emeka has highlighted, for you personally, what are the tools, technical things that helped you thrive or that is currently helping you thrive as a product manager, but especially as a young product manager when you started started as a product manager? What are the tools that helped you?
Okay. So Emeka said I had mentioned some soft skills which also some of them applied to when I started. But when talking about tools, there are some tools that as a young product manager then that I had to start learning, go for trainings for. There are tools like Jira. Jira helps me to prioritize my products, helps me to track through the development of my products. Every step, see where the blockers are. It's a very interactive tool which I recommend for any upcoming products manager. It's not that difficult to learn, but it's a very good tool. Also, another tool that helped me in my product manager early days was, and still helping me today. It's not as if I've dropped it. It's Trello. Helps me as well. Like Femri had said earlier on, not all ideations come into life. You need to do your researches, you need to validate those ideas. And once you've done that, it's not all that you tell, the technical guys that are developing the product, they tend to understand. At times, you need to do some prototyping for them to really get the picture. So there are tools like, Figma and Balsamic that helps you to do sort of a prototype, which the rest of the, developers will understand what you're trying to build. So those kind of tools also help. Google Analytics are tools as well that I will encourage people to understand, to learn, especially when you're building digital products, because it's an easy way to know how your digital products are really. So these are a couple of tools that I used when I transitioned into product management, and I'm still using today. There are some other more tools like Asana and Co. But I think with these, a product manager is good to go.
Thank you. These are very, very precise and very detailed tools, Jira, Figma, and the likes. I hope we're taking notes, and a big thank you. I think immediately I announced the Q&A session is open, people just started dropping in questions. We have a lot of questions already, but we'll get to it shortly. I just have 1 or 2 questions to ask our panelists, then we now go straight into the Q&A session. Talking about shooting your shots, how can, I know Emeka has already mentioned something about confidence and all, but Yemurayi, from your own personal experience, I want to know, how can you effectively showcase your skills, right? Aside from, he said shooting your shots, yeah, but how am I directing my shots? Basically, like, how do I showcase my skill? And some people would ask, how do I build portfolio? Or how do I put myself out there as a product manager or someone who can be a great product manager? Over to you, Yemurayi.
Sure, thanks for that great question. I will give an example about on a scenario where I feel I shot my shot, and then I'll also give other examples of people can do that.
Right.
When I started, I highlighted, so I'll give 2 examples of how at least I transitioned from different roles. So when I started off my career as a software engineer, when I wanted to transition to become a business analyst, I literally had a conversation with my manager before there was even a role advertised for anything. I highlighted to him, look, I know right now I am a software engineer, but my goal is to become a business analyst. So when there are opportunities like that, please let me know. And where you need help, where you require the skill set or the assistance of business analyst, let me know, I'll be available. So that way, whenever anything business analyst related comes up, he's got me in mind. It's important to communicate your goal and what you want. So let's say for the attendees, if you're already in a company, there's an opportunity, you see that there's opportunities for you to transition into product, already highlight it to your manager. You may be even far from becoming a product. Maybe your department feels far from product. Highlight it to them. I can even give an example. Right now, there is a young man who is in the custom team who's requested to say, okay, I really would like to learn more about product and possibly transition. So can I partially shadow you? So I've got someone who's shadowing me right now. They're in CX. as part of during the day when he's done with his usual work, he'll allocate time, he'll shadow me and do some of the work that I do, or at least listening, he'll participate one way or the other. So that's another way to shoot your shot. Another way that I've used, so I actually used the same when I then transitioned from business analyst to product manager. I let my manager know, look, I've been doing my work as a business analyst very well, I enjoy it, but right now I'm looking to get into product. So when there are opportunities, please put me there. So it keeps, I'm always at the top of his mind when opportunities come up because I've already communicated. And another way that I used before, when there was a time when I was doing my MBA in the UK, and I needed to, it was my goal to work as a PM in a fintech organization within the space for my own experience. I was new in the market, and it was during the COVID time, so everyone was at home. It was difficult to say I would go around looking for a job. So literally what I did was I crafted up a small blurb about myself. This is who I am. This is what I've done in the past. These are my interests. These are my skills. And then I identified companies where I would like to work, or as a PM, listed them out. Then literally would find people who work in those companies who are in the product team, particularly, for instance, the chief product officer. DM them, contact them, people who are complete strangers. Hi, introduce myself. This is who I am. This is what I'm interested in. This is what I would like. I would like to join your organization in this capacity. Do you have roles? Can I volunteer in any way? And it's not easy. Like, you DM people, some people will not respond. You DM people, some people will respond and say, okay, we don't have opportunities at the moment. Will give you all sorts of excuses. But eventually I did manage to get a role in a crypto startup in London. So it is important to press on, communicate, put yourself out there, even at times when it feels uncomfortable. Reach out to people. If you really want something, you're really going to have to put yourself out there. Unfortunately, you have to shed off being shy, being reserved, being scared of rejection. If you really want something, you have to develop a thick skin and tell yourself, I really want this, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. So put yourself out there, communicate to manager, communicate to in your industry that you've got in this particular role. One way or the other, you'll get to where you want to get to.
Right. Thank you very much. So basically, just go straight. If you can speak to your managers, your line manager, speak to anybody who already works in that field, just shoot your shot at them. You never know. Thank you so much, Yemurayi. So I'm just going to go straight, because we already have lots of questions, and I feel like we should just go straight into it before we run out of time. We have about 12 questions so far. Great. Somebody started with a very interesting question. I think I'll just direct this at Sir Clement. The person said, hello, what is the difference between project management and product management? Then they also went on to ask, how do they overlap? And can these be combined? They want to do everything together. So I see you're smiling. You most likely have a very interesting response to this. So over to you, Sir Clement.
No, it's always a question. I'm sure Chukwuemeka and Yemurayi will understand. It's always a question that normally pops up, that when you try to tell people what you're doing, and somebody will just tell you, is that the same thing as project management? You say, no, it's not. It's not project management, it's product management. So like we've all said earlier on, and we reiterated, a product manager is like a CEO of a product. Like I said, it defines the strategy, the vision, the goals of a particular product line, bringing in ideation, from, ensuring that it meets customers' requirements up to the point of taking it to market, monitoring the go to market. He's focused on that product. But not forgetting that there are a lot of activities that occur in getting product to where it is, which may involve some projects. So a project manager is the person who is responsible in planning and executing some of those projects that bring that product to life. So he may just, maybe I would just say maybe product X is, we've defined that we want to put the product X into the market. And the IT guy says, okay, we need to do XYZ, and we need a PM, a project manager to drive that. The sales guy says, okay, we also need to do something, project manager to drive that. You're still the product manager, you're the CEO looking at everything, but you have various project managers who work on these various goals, which at the end of the day sum up to deliver what these products are. And at times you get some product managers who are project managers. It depends on the organizations. Some organizations are big enough to split it and have a lot of project managers, working on, various projects that are under a product. And some organizations may be nimble, where you see a product manager also being a project manager. So depending on the organization, depending on the culture, and depending on what it's trying to achieve, it can be distinct, or it can really overlap, or you can even see the same person doing the same. But they are two really different, they are two really different things.
Okay. Thank you so much, Clement. They are two different things, actually. I hope we've been able to address your question. Somebody asked the question I think we've already addressed in our conversation. Another person mentioned, how do they highlight, what should candidates highlight on their resume or portfolio to stand out when applying for product management roles? I think it's something similar to the last question I asked. I don't know if any of our panelists has anything to add to that. Chukwuemeka, perhaps you have anything to add. What are the things you highlighted on your resume when applying for a product management role?
Yeah, I think basically, first of all, like as an individual, like depending on like where you're coming from, it's good to, I think, have your own personal like skill map in a way. So for example, if you previously worked like in a customer support role, I think things that are very important there are like customer centricity, a bit of like user research, and even also just things like negotiation and management of customers. Um, those would typically be the kind of things I would say on that role you should highlight. If you're coming from like a technical role, like say Yemurayi, for instance, obviously things like attention to detail, understanding how products are built beneath the hood, your knowledge on like just like structure planning, that makes a lot of sense to add. You're an operations person, basically, again, processes, procedures, getting people to do things within a tight time frame. There are a lot of transferable skills. So the most important thing is to look at what your role is and begin to map your transferable skills to the product management role. And again, it's something like even if you're like, I can go on and on about like, if you're in marketing or a few skills that you would need, you look at your numbers, you're data driven, you don't just do marketing campaigns and spray and pray, you analyze the data, things like that. So every different role has something that you can add. I think those should just be highlights for anybody who's trying to transition and who has like a new CV that they're trying to position for. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. I think that's a sufficient answer to that question. Another person asked, how important is it to have a deep knowledge of coding? I believe Yemurayi has addressed that already. You can enter through product management through any role, as far as you are committed to developing yourself and learning the relevant skill. Coding isn't so important. Another person asked, what advice do you have for individuals to stay up to date with the latest tech trends and developments relevant to product management? Mr. Clement, would you like to take this? What advice do you have for individuals to stay up to date with the latest tech trends and developments relevant to product management?
Okay, thanks. So there are a lot of there are various ways which we can stay up to tech trends. One of the easiest way and one of the things I such as this, let me put it out there, where you get to hear from experts around the world, what they do, how they do it, what's new, what's the new trend, what's going to happen in the next 4 or 5 years, what the future is looking like. It helps build your knowledge, and allows you to ask some questions which has been maybe bothering you for some time and get some clarity. I think Yemurayi Chinyandi has mentioned joining online communities as well. That helps because you get people dropping experiences in those communities. You can ask, especially for the shy ones that don't want to speak to anybody. You can just join the community, type in your questions, and you get people trying to answer those questions based on your experience. I would say, tech meetups. You can ensure that tech meetups, your local tech meetups around your area. Don't shy from that. Even if you don't know anyone, just try to walk in there, introduce yourself, start having those conversations, being bold, and that helps. One of the things that helped me, and I think is going to help other people, is mentorship. You can actually get a mentor who is very experienced in product management, who will guide you in gaining the skills, helping you build your knowledge, looking out there for you for rules as well. That really helps. To be honest, I have a mentor. I have 2 mentors today as well in the product management skills, whom I every time good to go back to the stop to say, okay, we need to do this. How do I go about it? We try that, and I think engaging in online tech focused forums as well, or platforms. It helps to build your knowledge about that. I think those are the couple of things I think someone can do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clement. So we'll move on to the next question. How do you deal with conflicting stakeholders' interest and power in the determination of product features? I think Emeka touched on this a bit, but Yemurayi, do you want to just give like a brief addition to this, to what Emeka had said earlier? How to deal with stakeholders' interest and power in determination of features. Over to you.
Sure, thank you. I think one of the things that really helps in getting stakeholder alignment is always having these 3 things that I would like to highlight. The first one is having data. Data usually helps get people aligned, because when you've got data, you are able to validate whatever interests that people have. So have data. It could be data in terms of the performance of a product, or what people want, or what people usually incline to. It could be data as in information that has been published in reports, information that has been published through maybe, for instance, compliance or regulatory guidelines that have been provided. That helps to say, if you've got something, people trust black and white most of the time, more than people's sentiments. So if you've got something that you can present, it helps achieve, drive stakeholder alignment. 2, the ability to put up structures when it comes to how decisions are made. So at the end of the day, if there are different opinions, there should be a structure that you take to say, okay, yes, we hear your recommendations, but at the end of the day, the decision lies with White, and everyone knows that's how things work. Because at times there are many opportunities where people agree to disagree. So there should be a clear line of communication to say, when we are not agreeing, at the end of the day, the person who's got the ultimate decision, or who's got the ultimate power to make the decision, or who takes the responsibility of having the final say, is this person. Because customer support or customer experience may come in and say, based on what we've seen from customers, this is what we think is best. Compliance comes in and says, but the regulator says 1, 2, 3, 4. And then someone else from commercial says, but this is what's going to give us the money at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, there should be that right to say, yes, all of us are allowed to give feedback, but at the end of the day, the buck lies with so and so. When it comes to deciding on this particular thing, we will consult, but the decision lies with so and so. And the last one that I want to highlight is always reminding people of the company goals and objectives, because at the end of the day, we are all here for the particular goal as employees. So whatever we discuss, whatever we argue about, should always take us to the goal. So it's easy to make a decision to say, is this going to move the needle forward in terms of our revenue target, or in terms of our goal to have excellent customer experience, in terms of our goal to have excellent risk procedures. If it's taking us to our goal, it's easy to then rally people and align and get them aligned towards that goal. So those are some of the tools that I use when it comes to stakeholder alignment, especially in tough situations.
Right, thank you very much. I hope we've been able to address that question. So moving on to the next question, Babajide says is currently pursuing a master's in international business in the UK. That's very close to Yemeka. My question is, what are some courses or professional certification I could take to enhance my understanding of product management? Can you kindly provide steps to break into the field of PM? I think that's basically all that we've been talking about. Well, addressing the part of professional certification, Mr. Clement, can you just highlight some, and then perhaps maybe Emeka can just point a few as well?
Okay. Talking of certifications, there are a lot of product management courses. There are some being run by business schools or universities as well, product management. Yet, I think there's one run by Google, product management by Google as well, which is very good. And if you want free courses, I think if you go to Coursera or Udemy, you will see some very good courses on product management as well, which is very good. So there are free courses, there are paid courses, and I think all will help anyone who wants to transition to product management.
Right. Emeka, over to you. Do you have anything to add, particularly from where you are?
Just to add as well is that this is personal opinion, by the way. I'm not a fan of a lot of certifications. Product management is like one of those fields where you don't need a license to practice, so we're lucky. And I think the goal should be getting one or two certifications at the maximum. Maybe a Scrum certification or a project management certification, or a product management certification, and obviously once you have that, now trying to use that time to kind of like build a product, either like in your spare time or something. I feel like employers are looking for evidence, so that helps. So like more than like like I said, it's not a regulated industry. You don't need those things as much. So maybe instead of like advertising them, I would say maybe like 30% priority to like certifications and like, let's be honest, whatever industry you enter, you still need to upskill. You still need to take courses on your own time. You still need to do like research. So like the basic thing is something from Google or Scrum, and you should be fine. And then obviously like get into like the market and get like applying and things like that. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Clement and Chukwuemeka. I should also add, like I mentioned earlier, that we offer training on product management. And the great thing about the training we offer is the fact that you get to have a community. So it's quite different from certification where you just get online and that's all. You don't have anybody to hold you accountable and people to reach out to whenever you need insight or trends. It's a total package of community learning experience and growth basically in product management. So I'll be sharing the flyer later on after we address all our questions. So if you have any questions on how to register for the training, just drop it and I will reach out to you. And I would also be sharing the link for registration. Thank you once again, Chukwuemeka and Mr. Clement. So moving on to the next question. Someone said, what are some advanced roles or career paths that product managers can explore? Maybe we could just get like 2 or 3. Yemurayi, someone is asking for advanced role that a product manager, so you want to move from being a product manager to being something higher. I'm guessing that's the way the question is. I don't know. Can you mention like 2 or 3 roles?
Sure. So two items that I'd like to highlight, depending on the companies may have within the product management ladder. So an associate product manager, you become a product manager, you become a senior product manager, you become a lead product manager, a group product manager, an associate VP of product, a senior product, all the way up to officer. That's the ladder that you can take straight within the product route. But however, you've got the ability to branch. I've seen it, people divert into different routes from product. Someone moving from being a senior product manager to becoming a chief technology. Someone moving from being a senior, maybe moving into becoming a CEO. So there are quite a number of roles that you can transition into. Some people even branch off into commercial roles, such as your chief commercial officer, etc. So because the product management role is highlighted earlier, is an all-rounder role, you're able to navigate into different streams based on your interests and your strengths as well. Hope that helps and answers that.
Yes, certainly. Thank you so much, Yemurayi. Just to address a couple of questions that have been asked. Yes, the recording will be made available to as many that have registered. So I'm guessing that just to answer that. Someone said, is product manager the same as product owner? Just a simple yes or no. Mr. Clement, is product manager the same as a product owner?
No, they're not. It's not.
No, they're
it's
not.
not.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
not.
Thank you. Somebody's asking what's the difference. I think we already went into that, talking about the roles and responsibility of a product manager. Do you, maybe in like 2 sentences, Emeka, do you want to just point out the difference between a product manager and a product owner?
Yeah, first of all, for context, product management is done differently everywhere. Product ownership is, I think, is a Scrum title. It's very Scrum focused, where basically that person is kind of like responsible, almost like a mini Scrum master. Again, that's another Scrum title. But basically, that's just a person that's very, very responsible for a lot of the standard and operational bit anyway, in the product engineers, so as the owner. Whereas the product manager in the product context is more strategic, like taking care of like roadmaps, planning, go to market, things like that. That's the difference on paper. In real world, you might do everything, or it might overlap a lot. Again, every org is different. Your org might have some orgs might have product owners, project managers, and product managers. Some orgs might be a product manager and you don't have any of those things, but you still have to get work done. It just depends on the org, really. But that's a difference on paper.
Thank you, Emeka. Thank you. Someone is asking. Someone said, I want to jackpot. Is product management highly sought after in the UK and America? I'm going to ask you, Yemurayi, just say yes or no. She said, I don't know, it's an anonymous person. Is product management a highly sought after skill in Europe and America? What's your personal thoughts on that? Just yes or no.
Yeah, it is. If you also look at industry trends and you find out what are some of the highly sought after roles, it gives you that guidance. It is a sought after role across, especially with startups popping up everywhere. They need product managers to deliver their products into the market.
Thank you. So simple answer to it basically is yes. Another person asked an interesting question, and I'm going to ask Mr. Clement. Said, have you successfully started leveraging AI in product management for your own personal, your personal journey, career journey? Have you started leveraging AI in product management?
Yes. Why? AI is not something new. It's not new, but it's gaining more grounds as the day goes by. I think what has made it more so popular is the launch of ChatGPT. But yes, like we said, we've said from the beginning of the interviews, you really need to ensure you at least meet the requirements of the customer the jobs to be done. And so many ways AI can be leveraged in the whole product management spectrum, from gathering insights to looking at models, modeling to see whether the product you want to put out there is going to give you those same results or is going to give you different results. You can get learnings from customers as well. When you get data, you can use AI to crunch those data as well. Yes, it's still various companies will have various ways in which AI is being used, but yes, we started.
Okay. All right. Just a quick question. Caleb is asking that he wants to use his personal business to build a portfolio for his product management journey. What's your take on that? Is that a good idea or a not so great idea? Using personal business to build personal portfolio in product management. Yemurayi, what do you think? A good idea or not?
So that's a very good idea. One of the things that people look out for when they're hiring people, when they're hiring PMs, is someone who's been an entrepreneur before, because they know the ins and outs of getting a business or product up and running. And they're doing it for a living, so they have to make it work. So it's a really good way of selling yourself. So one of the things that you should do when you're then documenting or at least taking note of your journey is to look at the product life cycle. Like in general, if you can even just look up a product life cycle, the different stages of a product, and start recording as you are working on your business, how you have whatever you've done at each level to make sure that your business is successful, so that when you're then asked in an interview or when you're outlining it in your CV, it is very clear. Two, also one of the things that is very important when you're hiring a product manager is identifying the key metrics that they've pushed in their product. So when you're running a business, you could even put out, okay, this is how much revenue I've managed to generate from the products that I've put out in my own business, or these are the number of active customers that I have within my. So the ability to outline the key metrics that you push in your own business and articulate them in your CV or during an interview is a good way to put that across. And even highlighting some of the challenges that you've encountered and how you've managed to overcome them. Because obviously, when you're running your own business, you'll encounter challenges, and most of the time, these are some of the similar challenges that people face as employees within the business. So just the ability to outline those and clearly articulate them and how you solve the problems using numbers, using real life examples, will make you stand out at times even better than someone who's just been working in the corporate. So definitely you can do that.
All right. Thank you very much, Yemurayi. That would be our last question for today. I believe we've been able to cover most of the questions, and I'm sure our attendees all found this session quite insightful. I just want to say a special thank you to our speakers for taking out time to join us. This 1 hour, 30 minutes has been super duper insightful, interesting, fun, and everything good, everything great. So thank you so much, Yemurayi. Thank you, Chukwuemeka. Thank you, Clement. And a special thank you to our attendees, who, without you, we won't be having this. So I want to say a big thank you. And just to further buttress the point about training and about joining community and, shooting your shots, a reminder that we currently are taking registration is currently ongoing for people who are interested in product management. We have physical classes, we have online class, and it's a 2-day intensive training on new product management and new product development and management fundamentals. And the great thing about it is you are not just going to be doing a training and that's all. You'll be joining the community where you would have access to insight, access to job vacancies. And if you have a project that you're running or you're building a portfolio, we can always guide you through on how to go about it. So it's a total package really. So that's our contact detail. This is our contact details. You can reach out to us on all our social media platforms at 10th Code Media, on Facebook, on X, on LinkedIn, and Instagram. And if you have any questions, any inquiries, you can always shoot us a mail at info@10thcodemedia.com. Again, the recording of this webinar will be made available to everyone that has registered. We'll be sending you mails with the recording, and you can always go over it again and reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you once again, Yemurayi. Thank you, Chukwuemeka. Thank you, Mr. Clement. This was a great session. I'm sure you all can agree. And thank you to everyone who has taken our time to join. So for now, it's bye-bye from us. And thank you once again. All right.